Okay. Welcome back to the session. Welcome back. For those in Ilorin, in Port Harcourt, in Jos, thank you for waiting till this time. For those in Edo State, thank you. So the session that we are in now is the customer success stories. If you go on Microsoft website, or if you just Google customer success story Microsoft, just Google it. You're going to see a whole lot of companies that have been able to use Power Platform to do so many things in their organization. So many things. And now, I hardly see the people in Nigeria, the companies in Nigeria. And for me, I was like, no, I want to see Nigerian companies. I want to know what they are using it to do. And this is the opportunity that I am able to get to bring in people, companies who have used Power Platform to help scale so many business processes, so many business solutions. And really, I think this will be a fantastic opportunity for you. Now, first, I'll be bringing up stage, and I want you to help me with your hands. I'll be bringing up stage Madam Yemin Adesoya. She is the head business process monitoring at Firstbank Nigeria. And I'll be bringing up stage Ngozi Ola Israel, Madam Ngozi Ola Israel. She is the Chief Finance Officer and Chief Data Officer of AXA Nigeria. Those are the two big roles. Those are the two big roles in one in the insurance company and one also in the banking sector. And one thing I tell people is that when a bank uses a software, the likelihood of all other banks using that same software is what? Is high. Majorly. When an insurance, because they try to look at each other, they spy on each other. It's a normal thing. They won't say it, but it's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. Because they want to make more money. They want to make more money. So now we're going to be doing a talk show. We'll be asking a series of questions, and I'll try to give you time to ask questions. Are we good to go? Okay. So you can tweet now, and you start learning how AXA, how Firstbank is using Power Platform. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So okay, I'm going to start with you. So since you have the mic, okay, tell us about your role in AXA. Let us just know a brief about your role.
Sure. Okay, I think it's working now. Thank you very much, David. So I think very first thing is to really appreciate this great opportunity to be here to meet with all of you. I was saying to Yemi before I came off stage that I schooled here, so it's an honor for me to sort of be back in the main auditorium. So thank you very much for having me. So at AXA Mansard, I am the Chief Financial Officer, and I also double as the Chief Data Officer. I think I won't talk about the finance hat. I make a joke that I wear two hats. So I do finance during the day and then data by night. Anyways, so as Chief Data Officer, I'm responsible for managing the data strategy of the organization, of course, ensuring that we have the right data quality, that we're at the right maturity level. I also manage all our data platform topics, data management topics, ensuring that we also have the right foundation, the right architecture in place. So that sort of summarizes what my role is.
Okay, I can give it to, yes. But I mean, same thing, your role.
Okay. My role as head business performance monitoring, actually, in Firstbank. I have summarized it as supporting strategy execution through analytics, decision support, goal setting, and measurement. So the whole process. The job includes engaging people across the institution, ensuring that when we say we want to be or remain number one bank in Nigeria, we mean it. What do we mean by it? What are the metrics by which we will measure our success? and what role should each individual in the institution play in delivering on those goals. So we set those goals. We enable them with data in the course of the year to see how they are tracking on those goals. And then at the end of the year, show them how well we've achieved those goals across the institution. Thank you.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Okay, so we want to just delve right into Power Platform. Now, as at what point of entry did Firstbank or AXA, because the question is for both of you, that you said, oh, let's use Power Platform? As at what point of entry did it start?
For Firstbank, we have used Microsoft products for as long as I can remember. I joined the institution in 2011. Before then, we've been using various Microsoft products. My first recollection of a direct encounter with Power Platform products was around 2017 in a previous role before business performance monitoring, where in our internal control function, we were using Microsoft Power Pivots to consolidate a number of reports across about 500 internal control locations at the point. But even then, when that my function, we were only using a small functionality. Various functions in the bank had started using Power BI for various other reports, which I later came to imbibe fully in my role as head business performance monitoring. But in business performance monitoring, as you will imagine, engaging over 10,000 employees across the bank will include collecting data, analyzing them, communicating with them, etc. So inevitably, somewhere in the course of 2000, we had 2020 rather, I said 2000, we had to look deeply into what more can we do beyond using Power BI to present analytics. How can we use Power Platform tools? We started with Power Apps, really. We started with one of the roles, which is to rate employees on specific goals in the course of the month. We used to collect that data using Microsoft Excel. And it was cumbersome, it was error prone, it was frustrating for the employees that handle this function. So we started using Power Apps. We developed a very simple app with metrics for which we want to rate people and enable supervisors to just log on using their usual Firstbank details and then rate the employees. This was the first one that eased the way in which we engaged with that process. And from then on, I think since we started building apps, we must have built maybe over 30 different apps in my specific function. But across the bank, other people have taken it to even more sophisticated heights.
Wow, great. So you can see, if you know Power Pivot is actually Excel. So Power Pivot is in Excel, and also Power Query is in Excel. So if you combine them, Microsoft now made it Power BI. So that is why for those in Power BI, you also saw Power Query. You get it? So that is it. So now it's now Power BI. So to you, Ma.
Sure. What I remember is the thick of the lockdown, so the COVID lockdown. Of course, we had to work from home. People couldn't get to the office. Your normal, create a letter or something, print it out, carry it from office to office to get it signed, and all of that wasn't available. And special mention, I already told him I was going to mention his name. We have a very, very passionate person that works with us at AXA Mansard. So that's Olariwaju Oyinboke. Please, a round of applause for him. Yes, he's here. I think he spoke earlier on today. And he was the one that sort of popped up and said, okay, there's something that can make life a lot easier for all of us. And right in the middle of the COVID, yes, in the middle of the pandemic in 2020, we started holding trainings for across the organization, actually. So he did those trainings for everyone. And that was sort of like what kick-started. And we started, so we started simply from things like Microsoft Forms, right? So even for appraisals, for things as simple as interviews where, you have to interview someone and then you write notes and they chase me, for days to write my own notes because it's so difficult. But now it's just a link. You fill in the information, and at the back end, the HR team has all of that information. So that's sort of like kickstarted it. And from then on, SharePoint, workflows. In fact, right now, there are some teams within the company that if you don't use Power Automate to make certain requests, your mails will not be attended to. They would simply tell you that, sorry, you need to make that request through the workflow, because you can make the request. Of course, the manager can approve on Automate, right? And then it then goes to the team that needs to, take the action. So that's how it started for us.
Wow. Wow. Now, you can see, and you follow me, I and Ola to do Twitter spaces. You always hear the way he talks. That is the Ola that drives the whole of AXA Nigeria on Power Platform. So it is not about, one big person has to be there to drive it. No, an individual can make a change within the organization. And Ola, you have seen Ola now. Ola has been the one talking every time. That short man, yeah, he has been the one talking every time. He has drive. He's actually the head of the data management team in AXA. Actually, he's the head.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Indeed. I'm just a sponsor.
He's the head. So please, it shows that one individual can transform a company at the time they needed him the most. He picked it up. So if you're looking for opportunity, you have to see it and give it out. Are we getting it now? Thank you. So now I'm going to ask you this question. Can you give us the impact? Can you rate the impact of Power Platform in your organization? How do you see the impact of it in your organization? Can you rate it? Because I know you said that if some people if they send an email, you said no, they should use Power Automate. But can you expatiate on that? The impact of Power Platform in AXA?
Indeed, to be honest, I would say that it's been transformational. Like Yebi said, we've used Microsoft for almost everything, since I joined and, since the company basically started. So we have Office 365 and all of that. But since we started using Power Automate, there's been an increased level of efficiency and collaboration within the organization. You see, for example, just what SharePoint allows you to do, right? You can all work on the same documents, right? So we're seated in the office, for example, when I'm doing my finance, when I'm wearing my finance hat, and we're reviewing slides on performance. And whilst we're discussing it, updates are being made. I can see them already on my screen, right? So it's not a matter of, okay, turn your screen, let's look at it, send it back to me, right? And then we're iterating. But it's a living document. Someone is updating slide 1, I'm on slide 6, I'm making that update, right? So it's improved the level of collaboration. A lot of things that used to take days, right, or lots of hours, now it's simple. The HR has really benefited from Power Automate, Power Apps in general. Appraisals are easier. They're simply links, workflows that are being sent. So it's really been transformational for us, to be honest.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to ask Madam Yemi. What do you think will be the future of Power Platform for a whole lot of companies using Firstbank as an example? Because Firstbank wants to be the first bank, and you're using a whole lot of process, putting it in place, the metrics and everything. So what do you think that platform will do to make all those things possible?
Thank you. We are the first bank.
Yes,
not that
you're
we
first
want
bank,
to be.
so you don't want to be. Exactly.
We want to remain the first bank. And what she said, the singular word that encapsulates what Power Platform does is just transforms your processes. The future for any institution that has adopted this sort of tools and enablers is that your processes can never remain the same. They continue to evolve and to mature. I'll use our case as an example where a number of activities that used to take time, like you said, version control would be a nightmare if you are working on, for example, a budget for the year. But now you don't have to experience all those frustrations. You can take the processes and just keep improving them and focus on the core of what you want to take out of the process rather than the petty activities that would typically take time. So the platforms can help transform and help you focus on what you really want to take out of it. There are also various tools that in Microsoft you can piece together. In our own case, we use Teams. So if you raise a request through an app, it just pops up on your Teams, and you can on your phone approve them on your tab on any device at all. So it's a powerful tool. For an institution, what it does is also it democratizes development. In the past, we would have to wait for our CTO, ever supportive. But now, a lot of the pressure, we can take it off them. You can have citizen developers within the institution. And if I think of an idea of how I can make this process smoother, more efficient, I can immediately start as a person who has functional knowledge without having to first engage a business analyst in IT and they hire a developer and so on, etc. You are doing the development on the go. It would save you some money as well. I'm sure the CFO is interested in that. In that you already have these tools, I do not have to engage someone to build me an app. The things that people have the capabilities to do. It also empowers your workforce. In the past, where the financial accountant might feel frustrated that he's waiting to translate the business requirement to something an IT person would take off of them, they're already doing a lot of it themselves. It also makes the solutions richer because you have the functional expert also translating it to technology workflows. So there's a lot that this can do, and it's just healthy for the bottom line.
It's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's a question going back to you. There's a question going back to you, Madam Yemi. You said something already about citizen developers, and that was what I even had in mind. So a whole lot of people think that they need to become, let's say, Power Platform experts. So, but when you're explaining, you've said something about even your finance team doing the Power Platform, building it themselves. So now I want you to let people know and say that they don't need to have a specific like Power Platform expert, that different departments actually build their own tools themselves. So can you help me in that side of story?
It's very interesting in that even before Power Platform, I'm an accountant, I'm a chartered accountant. In the past, accountants, they would say you carry ledgers and so on and so forth. But having been given challenging roles, I started developing from using Visual Basic and then, Visual Basic in Excel, just taking the tools up a notch. The knowledge is just out there. You can go to YouTube, you can go to various support groups online and add to your functional professional knowledge the technical know-how to translate the functional requirements you have into products you can actualize on your own. So you don't need to hire a certain expert to help you do this development. In my team, in business performance monitoring, my colleagues do their developments themselves. They develop the apps themselves. And when I said that, it just matures your process in that you can be having a conversation and someone will say, this form that I have to fill and click here, why don't you default, what the user will usually select from record from somewhere else? The involvement, the enrichment of the process is faster than if you have a separation between functional knowledge and IT expertise. So what I would say is for professionals in the room, you do not need to rely on a developer. And this is what having the low code, no code product helps us to achieve. You take your functional knowledge and the IT knowledge with you, which means you're more of a rounded professional.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now to Madam Ngozi, the question I want to ask you is a whole lot of people here are starting their career. Some are starting career, some are students, and some are even trying to transition. So now it's nice knowing that Madam Yemi is an accountant, and also she now has some technical knowledge and she's adding to the team. Now, what will you tell people that wants to learn Power Platform? Because everything that we've done today was about the story of Power Platform. Do you think that is one of the core things that they can learn going forward? And is it that companies really are employing people with those skill sets?
Yes, I would definitely agree with you and say that there's a lot of opportunity with learning Power Platforms. For us, for example, and I think I resonate with what Yemi had mentioned, because we also have a community a Power Platform community within the company. Of course, Ola is supporting that, as well as Pemi. I think Pemi is also here as an attendee. And one of the things that we're doing through that community is democratizing knowledge. So sometimes speakers come, right, and give examples of, some of the automations that they've done. Towards the end of the year, we even had sort of like a competition, and we had people within the community sort of come up with 5 solutions. And I tell you that these people that came up with these solutions, they were not in technology departments, like Yemi mentioned. They were not developers. In fact, one person was a sales agent, right? She was, her core function within the organization was to sell. But she sat down and thought, wow, there's something that I normally require for my customers. And every time I need to make a request from the team that needs to give it to me, they take time and all. Why can't we do something about it? Why can't we have a workflow? Why can't we have something that's already, fills in information and then just provides the documentation that she needs to send to her customers? And I was just wowed, like, it's all about what you can imagine in your mind. So the advice I would give is that don't think about it as being technical. I'm sure you've learned a lot today. Please join the community. It's powerful. It's very powerful because once you learn something, I call the other people who work with Ola disciples, right? Because what then happens is that when other people need solutions, we don't all need to look for Ola, right? Because there's somebody else who has experienced it, who has done something within their own space, right? And you can actually just lift and apply, right? You actually don't have to build everything from scratch because sometimes the concepts are the same, right? And once you've used it in the policy processing team, for example, it will work for, another area within the organization. So please, it's definitely a very important skill. It's a skill for the new age. It's a skill for today. And it's definitely something that you can use to improve yourself. So you don't have to work in finance. I already mentioned somebody who works within the sales department, right? And was able to bring up a solution to make her own work easier. So it's for everyone, really.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together? Okay, so I'll be taking 2 questions. 2 questions. Okay, one, I want a lady because two men answering, no. One guy, another a lady. A lady, 1 question. No pressing? Nobody?
Please
Okay.
make Yemi and I proud, though.
Okay, good. Okay, can you come forward? Okay, so after this, then we have a community segment. We want to just talk about community. Please remember that we have, you can come. So remember that we have the challenge that we have. You remember the challenge? Who have registered for the challenge already? Okay, we're going to post the link again. I will send you an email. So check. Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Madam Yemi and Madam Ngozi. It's an opportunity, real opportunity, speaking to you. Okay, I have a question, and thank God you are business leaders. I'm coming from the point, luckily you are in organizations that perhaps have adopted these tools from the scratch. You spoke about the fact that you run offices, 365 in your organization. And you hear things like, thank God you're a finance person, you hear things like justification, can you justify this solution they're about to go into? I was also having a conversation with a great guy, and I guess that's the first company in Nigeria that will hear that as the premium capacity, Power BI premium capacity. How easy, or coming from your angle, let me just rephrase my question like this. Convincing the management to buy this solution. What steps, or how do you go about trying to engage the management to see reasons? It's good. I hear stories on online, customer success stories and everything. Coming from my own sector, okay, a little background. I'm coming from the power sector. The power sector is perhaps plagued. You really will not see the value. So how easy will it be convincing management to actually go into this solution? Coming from your own perspective, what tips, tools do you think I can use about going to management and telling them, please, I've seen something good. Let us go into this. That's just my question.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I've been talking about community. I'm really new to this thing, so I don't know how to join this community and which community I believe in.
Okay, that is fine. I will personally answer that one. Okay, so we can answer the first one.
The first one is a very interesting question, and because we have a CFO here, it's going to be interesting to see whether we can convince her to part with money to buy the tools. So, one, we have to keep our eyes on the benefits that we desire for the institution. So, is it that you want information faster? You want to serve your customers faster? You want to support management's decision making faster? You want to do something differently? Or you want to avoid some cost? In some institutions, you spend a fair amount of money hiring external developer to build tools for you. So it's either one, you are actually improving efficiency, or you're saving cost or avoiding the cost that we will usually incur using alternative tools. If you look at the two approaches, and you will actually have the two benefits side by side. So for example, in the past, we've spent X amount of Naira hiring developers to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different apps. If we were doing that internally using these tools, this is how much we would have avoided. And this is how much cheaper we can get the tools that you're building. Because once you have those tools, there's a limitless amount of products or processes or apps that you can develop using them. So that's one. So optimizing the Naira that you're spending on those tools. The second one will be the way you will justify the external or off-the-shelf applications you will buy in the first place. We want to reach our customers, we want to improve data integrity, we want to sell more, etc. So once you combine those two together, it should be fairly easy to convince management to invest. It's an investment in these tools, and they are powerful. In our own case, we also use Office 365, one of the tools we use. So combining Power Apps with Power BI, with Power Automate, the options and the possibilities are limitless. So once you can scale the conversation about the benefits that your organization is expecting to tap from it, it should be fairly easy to justify. Thank you.
Okay.
I fully agree.
How do we collect money from you?
I fully agree with Yemi. Honestly, I would say that everybody responds to value. So it's not just to come and say, oh, I attended a training over the weekend. Oh, this thing is so fanciful. If you look at it, it looks so nice. It's so quick. You know, that sounds really nice. Yeah, but you know, it will not bring the money out. So you need to think about how the value is being generated, all the points that Yemi mentioned, right? And then what's also very useful is use case. It's something we say in the company, use case, use case, use case. What's a use case? It's an example, right? So you take one example, you take one process. Then you think about it. How do I automate this? It could be anything, just which is why it requires some thinking. Think about all the processes in your organization. Pick one, the one that you think will deliver the most value. And it could be just the way Yemi mentioned it. It will save a lot of cost. Maybe right now, 100 people are typing things, right? And you know that if you bring this solution, you can have 20 people doing the work in half the time that the 100 people were doing it. That's your goldfish. So you bring that use case, you do the automation, find a way to get it done, and you set up a meeting. Oga, please, I want to show you something. Then you do your demo. By the time you finish, you get your clap, and then, you know, they say, bring it, they sign off, and then you get what you want.
Thank you very much. So now another thing is, let's jam our hands together. Let's jam our hands together. So in response to her about use case, Microsoft have what we have, the community plan. I don't know if anybody knows the community plan. There is Power Platform community plan that give you free access to developing Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, and Power BI for free. You can do that for first 3 months, and you'll be learning anything on Power Platform. You can build your use cases with that, and you can now do your demos in your company. So if you want to even learn, definitely I'll be giving you links to your for you to get the license for your community plan. That's why we call it community, because it's free. It's free. So another thing is that what I agree with them is you need to show that you can give them value. That is the real truth. You need to show that you can give your company value. how much do you spend before? How much will you spend after? Because I learned something while I was in when I was in D Brown, because I worked with D Brown before going to Microsoft, and he says there are two things I need you to know how to do: is either you can increase revenue or reduce costs. If you cannot do those things, even your job is actually doing that. If your job stops doing that, you what? You leave the system. And that is why we want you to learn Power Platform. Because even as at the time of COVID, people left jobs because people started creating faster solutions. And if you don't have that value, it becomes something else. So please, I hope you've enjoyed this session. Thank you very much, Madam Ngozi. Thank you very much, Madam Yemi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We can keep jamming our hands together. So we now